The grand arena of Varian hung above the violet storms of a gas giant like a silver crown, its outer rings glowing with advertisements in 1,200 languages, and its inner chambers shaking beneath 2 million voices. At the center stood Serapha Vael, undefeated champion of the conquered worlds, her silver blonde hair braided beneath a combat circlet, her golden eyes bright with amusement, and her long, elegant ears decorated with tiny victory chains that chimed whenever she moved. She looked almost human until those ears turned toward sounds no one else could hear, or until the muscles beneath her pale skin tightened with the grace of a predator born under heavier gravity. Across from her, an aging human argued with a registration drone that refused his thumbprint. "Your hand is obsolete," the machine announced. "So is your personality," he replied. His name appeared over the arena floor: Elias Venn, 61 standard years, retired infantry, no enhancements, no rank, no recorded victories. The crowd erupted. Serapha watched him step onto the platform with the careful pace of someone whose knees had filed formal complaints. "Human," she called through the acoustic field. "The medical wing is behind you." Elias glanced back. "Good. I was worried you didn't have one." Laughter rolled toward the champion. Serapha smiled, though the tips of her ears sharpened with irritation. She descended in armor woven from reactive star metal, each movement leaving a bronze shimmer in the air. Elias wore a faded gray coat with a repaired elbow and boots older than several governments. "You registered for a ceremonial duel," she said. "Not a guided tour." "I know. The tour cost more." One of her guards coughed to hide a laugh. Above them, Tactical A ran projections. Every model ended within 9 seconds with Elias unconscious, hospitalized, or embedded in a wall. Commentators debated whether he had lost a wager. Betting markets closed because no one would risk money on him. Yet in a dark diplomatic gallery, 3 observers stopped smiling. A car admiral with translucent skin leaned forward. Beside him, a machine priest froze the feed when Elias rolled his right shoulder. An old woman from the vanished colony of Orison rose slowly. The movement had been small, almost lazy, but she recognized the angle of his foot, the looseness of his fingers, the way his weight avoided his heel. "That stance was erased," the admiral whispered. "The records were erased," the old woman corrected. Below, camera drones circled like metal insects. Serapha had defeated princes, war beasts, synthetic monks, and an aquatic emperor who insisted on fighting inside a portable ocean. She had never faced anyone who looked as though he might apologize to the floor for stepping on it. "You may withdraw," she offered. "The audience will mock you, but only for a few decades." Elias studied her. For an instant, something cold appeared behind his mild expression, then vanished. "I've been mocked by better crowds," he said. "One had 6 heads and still couldn't agree on an insult." Serapha laughed despite herself. The gong had not sounded, yet the arena suddenly felt quieter. Elias removed his coat, folded it carefully, and handed it to a confused drone. Beneath it he wore a black shirt marked by a faded emblem, a broken circle crossed by 3 lines. In the observation gallery, the old woman's chair struck the floor. The admiral's face darkened. The machine priest disconnected from the arena network. "Stop the duel," the old woman said. "Now." But the arena master was already raising his hand. Serapha lowered into her attack stance, smiling for the cameras. Elias only exhaled, loosened his hands, and regarded her with the tired patience of a man who had survived things the galaxy had chosen to forget. The arena master lowered his arm, but the ceremonial gong never sounded. A red security field flashed across the platform instead, locking Serapha and Elias inside a transparent dome. 2 million spectators groaned in perfect unison. The commentators immediately began speaking over one another, each insisting the delay was either sabotage, prophecy, or poor arena maintenance. Elias looked up at the glowing barrier. "That seems expensive," he said. Serapha's long ears tilted toward the diplomatic gallery. "Someone is trying to stop the duel. Perhaps they saw your entrance fee. You make many jokes for a man about to lose." I've learned that losing is less embarrassing when everyone thinks you planned it. She almost smiled, but movement above caught her attention. Security drones surrounded the private gallery where the 3 observers had been seated. The old woman from Orison was arguing with arena officials, striking the glass with her cane while the machine priest projected classified seals into the air. The car admiral stood completely still, which somehow looked more dangerous than shouting. The arena master received 12 orders, 4 threats, and 1 legal poem from a species whose courts communicated only in rhyme. He ignored them all. The duel is authorized by conquered law, he announced. No challenge may be cancelled after both combatants enter the field. The crowd cheered. Elias rubbed the bridge of his nose. Civilization survives another paperwork crisis. The barrier faded, but Serapha did not attack. She circled him slowly, studying the faded emblem on his shirt. What unit used that mark? A retired one. Units do not retire. Soldiers do. Then the symbol is enjoying a quiet life. Her golden eyes narrowed. She had spent her childhood memorizing military crests from every known civilization. She had never seen the broken circle, yet something about it disturbed her instincts. The tactical system beside her displayed Elias's balance points, bone density, pulse rate, and predicted reaction time. His heartbeat remained impossibly steady. Your body has no combat augmentations, she said. My dentist added a ceramic tooth. That does not count. It won an argument with a ration bar. Beyond the platform, technicians prepared for the formal countdown. The arena's artificial gravity rose gradually to match Serapha's homeworld. The floor became heavier beneath Elias's boots. Most humans would have bent at the knees. He merely adjusted his shoulders. Serapha noticed. So did the hidden observers. He adapted before the field stabilized, the machine priest whispered. The admiral activated an encrypted channel. Search sealed archives for Orison Pattern 9. The system returned a black screen and a warning. Accessing this material constitutes an act of war. The admiral sat back. That is unnecessarily dramatic. It means you found the correct file, said the old woman. While officials argued, Elias was taken to a preparation chamber for the required equipment inspection. The room offered him modern weapons, reactive armor, kinetic shields, and a helmet capable of predicting attacks half a second before they happened. He declined everything. A maintenance drone followed him with increasing desperation. Combatant Elias Venn, regulations recommend protective equipment. Regulations also recommend 8 hours of sleep. Your sleep record averages 4 hours. Then regulations have already failed me. The drone extended a padded chest plate. Elias tapped it once. The armor's diagnostic lights died. Defective, he said. The drone stared at the plate as if personally insulted. In the chamber opposite, Serapha trained for the cameras. She struck holographic opponents faster than the eye could follow, shattering simulated armor and bending local gravity around her fists. Reporters praised her confidence. She answered with practiced humor, declaring that she would try not to damage the humans' knees because they appeared to be historical artifacts. Yet when the cameras left, she replayed footage of Elias adjusting beneath the gravity field. No normal veteran moved like that. No old soldier watched exits, reflections, and ceiling vents while pretending to be bored. Her curiosity began replacing amusement. The arena lights dimmed again. Both doors opened. Elias and Serapha returned to the platform as the crowd rose around them. This time she did not wave. He did not joke. The countdown appeared overhead in burning white numbers. 10, 9, 8. In the diplomatic gallery, the old woman whispered, "He is giving her every chance to notice. 7, 6. Serapha lowered her center of gravity. Elias stood with his hands loose at his sides. 5, 4. The tactical AI suddenly produced a new message. Opponent profile cannot be modeled. 3, 2. Serapha's ears drew back. For the first time in years, something unfamiliar moved through her chest. It was not fear. Not yet. 1. Serapha moved before the final number vanished. The floor cracked beneath her first step as the arena's gravity engines multiplied her acceleration, launching her across the platform in a bronze blur. Her opening strike had broken the ribs of a Varkian war beast and once sent a combat android through 3 reinforced walls. Elias watched it approach with the expression of a man waiting for a slow elevator. At the last instant, he shifted half a step. Serapha's fist passed beside his jaw, close enough to stir his gray hair. Before she could turn, 2 fingers touched the inside of her wrist. Her arm went numb. She jumped backward, staring at it. The crowd laughed, believing she had deliberately missed for dramatic effect. Elias flexed his hand. "Fast," he said. "You sound surprised." "I'm old. Everything looks fast." Irritation burned through her uncertainty. She swept her functioning arm outward, releasing a compressed gravity wave. The air bent, camera drones spun away, and the platform groaned beneath invisible weight. Elias dropped low, rolled through the distortion, and rose inside her reach. His knuckles tapped a point beneath her shoulder plate. Her second arm stopped responding. The tactical AI screamed warnings across her vision. Motor interruption, unknown method, no tissue damage detected. Serapha twisted and drove her knee toward his chest. Elias caught it with one palm, turned his body, and somehow redirected her momentum without resisting it. The undefeated champion spun through the air and landed upright only because her boots fired emergency stabilizers. 10 seconds had passed. The arena had grown quiet enough to hear the hum of the force fields. Serapha's golden eyes narrowed. "You disabled both my arms." "Temporarily." "Why?" "You kept trying to hit me with them." A laugh escaped somewhere in the upper levels, followed by nervous silence. Serapha activated the neural lattice woven into her armor. Silver currents raced beneath the plates, forcing her muscles to respond. She attacked again, no longer performing for the audience. A plasma edge extended from her forearm. Her long ears flattened as she unleashed the 7 comet sequence, a chain of strikes designed to overwhelm predictive systems by altering speed and direction between each movement. Elias avoided the first blow by turning his head. He stepped over the second, trapped the third against his elbow, and interrupted the fourth with a light strike to her ribs. She lost her breath. The 5th never came. Above them, the arena AI attempted to analyze his motions. Its prediction display filled with branching lines, then collapsed into static. "He is moving between the calculations," the machine priest whispered. The car admiral gripped the railing. "No one can do that." "They could," said the old woman. "Before the ban." 20 seconds. Serapha triggered her species' natural overdrive. Her pupils narrowed, her heartbeat doubled, and the world slowed around her. She saw dust hanging above the floor. She saw spectators frozen in mid-cheer. She saw Elias clearly at last. He was not fast. That was the terrifying part. He moved only when movement became necessary, choosing positions before she understood she had created them. She attacked his throat, then changed direction toward his knee. Elias stepped into her path rather than away. His hand touched the base of her long left ear, where a cluster of balance nerves met the spine. The world tilted. Serapha staggered, furious and shocked. "That was rude," she hissed. "You tried to break my knee." "That was tactical. So was this." "Then we are both very professional." 26 seconds. Humiliation turned her anger reckless. She gathered every reserve of gravitational energy into her armor, surrounding herself with a bright bronze halo. Alarms sounded as the platform registered enough force to crush a military transport. She launched forward with a roar, determined to end the duel in one final collision. Elias exhaled. His mild expression disappeared. For a fraction of a second, Serapha saw the soldier hidden beneath the aging body, and every instinct she possessed begged her to stop. His left hand redirected her wrist. His right struck 3 places along her armor faster than the cameras could record. Her gravity field vanished. One foot hooked behind her ankle, while his shoulder turned beneath her center of mass. The champion descended without pain, without violence, and without any possibility of resistance. At exactly 30 seconds, Serapha found herself kneeling on the fractured platform, one arm pinned harmlessly behind her back, and Elias's fingers resting against a nerve that could have stopped her heart. The arena timer froze overhead. No one spoke. Elias released her immediately and stepped away. Serapha remained on one knee, breathing hard as feeling returned to her arms. She looked at the old human, then at the useless tactical warnings flashing across her vision. Pride urged her to stand. Honor kept her where she was. Slowly, she bowed her head. "I admit defeat." The words traveled through the arena and across the galaxy. Elias picked up his folded coat from the hovering drone. "Good," he said. "My knees were starting to sympathize with yours." The silence after Serapha's defeat lasted longer than the duel itself. Across the grand arena of Varion, millions of spectators stared at the frozen timer displaying 30 seconds, as if the number might change if they looked at it long enough. The commentators had stopped speaking. The betting systems had crashed. Several alien merchants were reportedly trying to sell commemorative statues of Elias before anyone had even learned whether he liked statues. The most confused creature in the entire arena was probably the official announcement drone. "Attention," it finally said in a trembling mechanical voice. "The undefeated champion has been defeated. Please remain calm while the universe processes this unexpected inconvenience." Elias looked at the drone. "The universe has a processing delay?" "Yes," the machine replied. "Current estimated time, 3 to 5 business centuries." For the first time in years, Serapha laughed in front of millions of people without pretending. She rose slowly, rubbing her shoulder where Elias had interrupted her armor systems. Her long ears moved slightly as she listened to the whispers spreading through the arena. The crowd was no longer laughing at the old human. They were afraid of him, curious about him, and most importantly, confused. She hated being confused. Serapha Vael had spent her entire life understanding combat. Every movement had a reason, every opponent had a weakness, every victory had a pattern. But Elias Venn was not a pattern. He was a missing page from history. "You knew exactly where to strike," she said quietly as they left the arena floor. "You knew my armor's weak points. You predicted my attacks before I moved." Elias carried his old coat over one shoulder. "You announced half of your attacks." "I did not." "You raised your left eyebrow before changing direction." Serapha stopped walking. "My eyebrow?" "Yes." "My eyebrow defeated me?" "No. Your confidence defeated you. Your eyebrow was just helping." She stared at him, unsure whether to be offended or impressed. The problem was that she was becoming impressed more quickly than she wanted. Inside the champion's private chamber, advanced medical drones scanned Elias for injuries. The machines found almost nothing. "Combatant Elias Venn," one drone announced. "Your body shows signs of aging, previous injuries, and questionable lifestyle decisions." "That sounds accurate." "Recommended treatment? Complete physical restoration?" "No." The drone paused. "Why?" "Because then I would have to listen to everyone saying I look younger." "That is not a medical concern." "It is a personal concern." The drone turned toward Serapha. "Is this behavior normal for humans?" She folded her arms. "I have studied humans for exactly 6 minutes. And? I believe they are either incredibly wise or completely broken." Elias smiled slightly. "Usually both." While they spoke, the hidden observers from the diplomatic gallery arrived. The old woman from Orison entered first, supported by a silver walking device that transformed into a small floating chair whenever she became tired of standing. Behind her came the car admiral and the machine priest. Serapha immediately recognized their expressions. They were not here to congratulate her. They were here because of him. The old woman looked at Elias for a long moment. "You should have stayed forgotten." Elias's expression changed slightly, only slightly. But Serapha noticed. "You know him," she said. "No," the woman replied. The machine priest turned its mechanical face toward her. "Correction. We know what he was." The room became colder. Elias walked toward the window overlooking the massive city orbiting beneath the arena. Thousands of starships moved through the traffic lanes, carrying travelers from hundreds of worlds. To them, he was just an old human who had won a duel, but the people in this room knew better. "Tell me," Serapha demanded, "what was he?" The car admiral hesitated. Then he activated a holographic display. A symbol appeared in the air, a broken circle crossed by 3 lines. Serapha's eyes widened. Every warrior in the galaxy knew that symbol, not because they had seen it, because they had been warned never to search for it. "The Ghost Division," she whispered. Elias closed his eyes. The name had not been spoken aloud in centuries. The machine priest projected ancient records. Entire battles appeared, fleets disappearing, impossible victories, enemy commanders surrendering before combat even began. But every file ended the same way: classified, removed, forbidden. Serapha looked between the images and the quiet man beside the window. "You were one of them." Elias remained silent. That answer was enough. The champion who had never lost suddenly felt like the least dangerous person in the room, yet the thing that confused her most was not his strength. It was his restraint. She had seen warriors destroy planets for victory. This man had won the most important duel of his life and immediately worried about his old coat getting dirty. "Why hide?" she asked. Elias looked at his reflection in the glass. "Because some wars end on the battlefield." He turned back toward her. "Others follow you home." For once, Serapha had no clever response. Then the maintenance drone from earlier rolled into the room. "Important announcement," it said. "I have reviewed the duel footage 14 times. Everyone looked at it. The drone projected a small hologram of Elias defeating Serapha. "I have concluded that the human is either the greatest warrior alive," it paused, "or the most annoying person in the galaxy." Elias nodded. "Both are possible." Serapha laughed again, and for the first time since becoming champion, she did not feel humiliated by losing. She felt like she had finally discovered the beginning of something much larger. Serapha had defeated monsters from 6 different worlds, survived assassination attempts, and once fought an entire squad of rogue battle machines while wearing a damaged ceremonial dress. Yet nothing in her long career had prepared her for following an old human around a space station while pretending she was not following him. Elias Venn noticed immediately. He noticed everything. That was the problem. "You have been behind me for 17 minutes, he said without turning around. Serapha stopped beside a maintenance corridor. "I am not following you. You change direction every time I change direction." "I was exploring." "The same hallway?" "It is a very interesting hallway." Elias looked at the empty metal walls. "There is a broken pipe, 3 cleaning drones, and a warning sign that says not to touch the broken pipe." She crossed her arms. "Perhaps I enjoy simple things." "Champion of the galaxy, destroyer of battle beasts, defender of 27 colonies." "Yes. You enjoy looking at a pipe. It has personality." Elias stared at her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then one of the cleaning drones rolled past them and beeped. "Warning," the drone announced. "This conversation has become uncomfortable." Serapha looked down. "Did the cleaning machine just judge us?" "Yes," Elias said. "Machines are becoming smarter." The drone stopped. "Correction. I have always been intelligent. Your species simply ignored me because I cleaned floors." The drone continued moving. Serapha watched it disappear around the corner. "I am beginning to understand why humans are difficult." Elias smiled slightly. "That is the first step." After the duel, Serapha had expected answers. Instead, Elias had given her silence. Every question about the Ghost Division was met with a simple response. "I'm retired." She hated that answer, not because it was wrong, because it was incomplete. The champion secretly accessed historical archives throughout the station. Most records about the Ghost Division had been erased. but fragments remained hidden in forgotten databases. Ancient battle reports, survivor testimonies, damaged recordings from worlds that no longer existed. One file showed a young human soldier standing alone before an enemy fleet. The image quality was terrible. The audio was almost destroyed. But one sentence remained. "We surrender." The enemy commander had said it before the battle began. Serapha watched the recording 3 times, then 5, then 12. She finally understood what frightened the galaxy. It was not that Elias had been powerful. It was that everyone who faced him believed fighting him was pointless. When she found him later, he was sitting in a small station cafeteria repairing an old communication device with a tool that looked older than the cafeteria itself. "You repaired that yourself?" she asked. "Yes." "With outdated equipment?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because it was broken." "That is not an explanation. It usually works." Serapha sat across from him. "I found the records." Elias continued working. "I assumed you would. You destroyed entire armies." "No." The answer came immediately. Serapha noticed. Not defensive, not angry, just certain. "I read the reports." "Reports are written by people who were not there." "Then tell me what happened." Elias placed the device on the table. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he looked at her. "We were not created to win wars." Serapha leaned forward. "Then what were you created for?" "To make sure wars ended." The simplicity of the answer unsettled her more than any terrifying explanation could have. Before she could respond, alarms suddenly filled the cafeteria. Every screen changed to emergency red. "Intrusion detected. Unknown vessels approaching." The station shook. Passengers screamed as security systems activated. Outside the massive observation windows, several black ships emerged from hyperspace. Their designs were unfamiliar, covered in technology that did not match any known civilization. Elias looked at the ships. His expression changed. Only slightly, but Serapha saw it. "You know them?" "Yes." "Who are they?" Elias stood slowly. "People who hoped I was dead." The cafeteria lights flickered. Security drones flew toward the incoming threat, but their systems failed one by one. A voice entered every communication channel. "Elias Venn." The entire station froze. The voice continued. "You should have remained a ghost." Serapha stepped beside him. For the first time since she had met him, she saw something different in Elias. Not fear, not anger, regret. The champion tightened her fists. "Are you going to tell me what is happening now?" Elias picked up his old coat. "I was hoping for a quieter retirement." "That was your plan?" "Yes." She looked at the approaching enemy ships. "This is quiet?" "No." He sighed. "This is why I hate plans." Despite the danger surrounding them, Serapha almost laughed. Almost. Then the station shook again. The enemy had begun boarding. Elias walked toward the exit. The old soldier who had spent years hiding from the galaxy was finally stepping back into the war he thought he had escaped. And Serapha followed, not because she wanted another challenge, not because she wanted glory, but because she had finally understood something. The galaxy had spent centuries fearing the legend of Elias Venn. She wanted to know the man behind it. The first enemy soldier entered the station through the eastern docking corridor with a weapon designed to disable entire armies. It was a terrifying machine of dark alloy, covered in adaptive armor plates and surrounded by a field that disrupted electronic systems. Behind it came dozens more, moving with perfect coordination. The passengers of Varian Station ran in panic. Security forces prepared to fight. Then Elias Venn walked toward the invaders carrying nothing but his old coat. Serapha followed beside him. "You realize," she said quietly, "that most people run away from armed soldiers." "I noticed." "You are walking toward them." "Yes." "Why?" Elias looked at her. "They are blocking the exit." Serapha stared. That is your reason? It is a very important exit. For a moment, the legendary alien champion did not know whether to be impressed or frustrated. You are impossible. I've heard worse. From who? Mostly doctors. The first enemy soldier raised its weapon. A pulse blast filled the corridor. Serapha moved instantly, creating a gravity shield around them. The energy wave exploded against her barrier, pushing her several meters backward. Her boots locked onto the floor. Strong weapon, she said. Elias looked at the smoking wall. Yes. You sound impressed? I am. She smiled slightly. That is the first compliment you have given me. I said the weapon was strong. Her expression changed. Still counts. The enemy forces advanced. Serapha launched forward, her armored suit activating every combat system available. Her long ears flattened as she moved through the battlefield with the same speed that had made her the undefeated champion of the galaxy. But this time she was not fighting for applause. She was protecting people. Her plasma blades cut through enemy armor without harming the soldiers inside. She moved beside Elias, expecting him to struggle against the overwhelming force. Instead, he moved calmly. Too calmly. He stepped between attacks before they happened. He used the environment, the enemy's own movements, and tiny weaknesses in their formation. Serapha had watched countless warriors fight. She had never seen anyone fight like this. He was not overpowering his enemies. He was solving them. A soldier attacked from behind. Serapha shouted, "Elias." He turned. Too late. The weapon fired. The old human moved only slightly. The blast missed him by centimeters. Serapha reached him seconds later. How did you know? Your warning. That was not an answer. It usually helps. She sighed. You are incredibly frustrating. I know. You admit it? I've had years to practice. Despite the battle around them, she almost laughed. Almost. Then the enemy commander appeared on the main communication screen. A tall figure covered in black armor looked down at them. Elias Venn. The station became silent. You were supposed to disappear. Elias looked at the screen. You were supposed to forget. The commander laughed. We spent centuries trying to understand your techniques. That was your mistake. And what was the mistake? Trying to understand something you only feared. The commander's voice became colder. You think you are different from us? No. Elias looked around at the frightened civilians hiding behind security barriers. That is why I left. The transmission ended. Serapha noticed his expression. You know them well. Yes. Who are they? Survivors of the wars we ended. She frowned. You ended their wars. No. Elias looked at the destroyed corridor. They believe I ended their chance to win. The answer stayed with her. For centuries, the galaxy had celebrated heroes who defeated enemies. But Elias had done something more complicated. He had removed victory itself. The enemy forces suddenly changed formation. Their armor began transforming. The machine priest watching from the station's command center sent a warning. Analysis complete. They are using anti-ghost technology. Serapha looked at Elias. They built weapons specifically for you? Yes. That should concern you. It does. She blinked. That is the first normal reaction you have had. I am trying something new. A heavy blast shook the station. The enemy commander had sent their strongest unit. A massive combat machine entered the corridor, almost reaching the ceiling. Its armor regenerated instantly, and its artificial intelligence analyzed every movement. The machine looked at Elias. Combat pattern recognized. Its voice echoed. Ghost division method detected. Serapha prepared to attack. Elias stopped her. I need you to trust me. She hesitated. That was not an easy request. She had trusted her strength her entire life. But this was different. This was the man who defeated her in 30 seconds and refused to brag about it. "Fine," she said. "But if you die, I will be extremely annoyed." "Is that your version of concern?" "No." A pause. "Maybe." Elias stepped forward. The machine attacked. The entire corridor shook. But Elias did not move away. He moved closer. For the first time, Serapha saw what the ancient records had hidden. Not a warrior seeking victory. Not a soldier seeking glory. A man who had spent his entire life making sure others survived. The battle lasted less than a minute. When the dust cleared, the machine stood frozen. Elias had disabled it without destroying a single critical component. The enemy commander watched through the remaining camera feed. "How?" Elias looked at the machine, then at the terrified civilians behind him. "Because I learned something you never did." The commander waited. Elias answered quietly. "Power is not knowing how to destroy." He turned away. "It is knowing when not to." The communication channel went silent. Serapha stood beside him, watching the fallen machine. The galaxy had feared the Ghost Division because of what they could do. But now she understood the truth. The most dangerous thing about Elias Venn was not his ability to win. It was his ability to stop himself from becoming the monster everyone expected. The galaxy did not know what to do with Elias Venn. For 300 years, civilizations had built legends around the Ghost Division. Some believed they were monsters created by humanity. Others believed they were myths invented to frighten enemy armies. A few claimed the entire division was actually a very expensive military joke created by bored scientists. Those people became very quiet when the surviving records were released. The truth was not as dramatic as the legends. It was more complicated. The Ghost Division had never existed to conquer worlds. They had existed because every war eventually reached a point where someone had to make the impossible decision of ending it before millions more died. Elias Venn had carried those decisions for most of his life, and now the entire galaxy knew. The announcement spread across every communication network. The human veteran who defeated the galactic champion was a former Ghost Division soldier. Within hours, Elias received invitations from governments, military organizations, universities, and several entertainment companies that wanted to create a series about his life. He rejected all of them, except one. A small educational channel asked him to explain basic starship maintenance. "That is not a documentary about your battles," Serapha said when she saw the invitation. "No. It is about repairing engines?" "Yes." She stared at him. "You defeated an alien champion in 30 seconds, stopped an invasion and changed galactic history." "I know." "And you chose to teach people how to repair engines?" Elias looked confused. "Engines are important." Serapha covered her face with her hand. Her long ears lowered. "You are impossible." "I've heard that before." "Yes, many times. I imagine your enemies probably wrote it in their final reports." "They did?" She looked at him. "Really?" "No, but it sounds believable." She laughed. That surprised her. For years, laughter had been something she used during victory celebrations. It had been part of the image of Serapha Vael, the unbeatable warrior. Now she laughed because someone made a terrible joke about engine repair. She preferred this version of herself. The new Galactic Combat Academy was built 1 year later on a peaceful moon near the center of the conquered worlds. It was not a military base. It was a place where warriors learned control before strength. Serapha became its first instructor. Many were surprised. The champion who once believed victory was everything now taught patience, discipline, and understanding. Her first students expected stories about her greatest battles. Instead, she told them about the day she lost. "The most important lesson I ever learned," she said, standing before hundreds of young warriors, "was delivered by an old human wearing damaged boots." A student raised a hand. "Master Serapha, is it true he defeated you in 30 seconds? She crossed her arms. "Yes." the students whispered. Another student asked carefully, "Was it embarrassing?" Serapha smiled. "At first. And now? Now I consider it the best lesson I ever received." A small alien student raised another hand. "Did he teach you his secret techniques?" Serapha looked toward Elias, who was repairing a classroom training device in the corner. "No." "Why not?" "Because he said the galaxy already has enough people who know how to break things." Elias looked up. "That was a good answer." Serapha smiled. "You are learning. Slowly. Very slowly. Like the universe processing the arena announcement?" She laughed. The old arena joke had become famous throughout the galaxy. Even the announcement drones had adopted it. The greatest battle in modern history had become known as the 30-second defeat. But those who truly understood Elias knew it was not about the time he needed to win. It was about the decades he spent choosing not to fight. Years passed. The enemy faction that had attacked Varian Station eventually surrendered after discovering that the galaxy no longer feared Elias Venn. It respected him. Their leaders admitted they had spent centuries preparing for a monster. Instead, they found an exhausted old man who wanted everyone to stop creating reasons for him to return to battle. Serapha visited Elias often. Their relationship became something neither of them expected. She had once challenged him because she believed strength meant standing above everyone else. Now she stood beside him because she understood strength meant carrying others when they could not continue. One evening, they watched ships travel between the stars from the academy balcony. "You know," Serapha said, "before meeting you, I believed losing was the greatest humiliation." Elias looked at the stars. "And now?" "Now I think refusing to learn is worse." He nodded. "That is a good lesson." She looked at him suspiciously. "Did you just compliment me?" "Maybe." The legendary Ghost Division soldier admitted I said something wise. "Do not make it dramatic." "Too late. I will tell everyone." "No." "Yes." "Please don't. The galaxy should know." "The galaxy already knows too much about me." She smiled. For someone who once defeated entire armies, Elias Venn was surprisingly bad at handling attention. And for someone who once believed she needed no teacher, Serapha Vael had discovered the greatest lesson of her life. The strongest warriors were not those who could defeat everyone. They were those who understood when victory was unnecessary. The story of the Ghost Division no longer ended with fear. It ended with hope. Across countless worlds, children learned the name Elias Venn not as a weapon, but as a reminder. A warrior could choose peace. A champion could choose humility. And even the greatest legends in the galaxy could discover something new when they finally stopped trying to prove they were the strongest.